Greetings and salutations, listener. It is I, Eric J. Chucky, joined as always by the boy.
Hey!
I was overwhelmed with the urge to call you all hornblowers. Went on a face journey just now that none of you can see. We don't usually do back-to-back concepts on a week. I am unfond of it. I like to keep things mixed up because I know what it's like to go back to a YouTube series by creators you like, and maybe this week they're, for example, playing a game you don't care for.
It's good to keep up variety in any case, just to keep things mentally fresh. But we had a lot of fun with this, so we're doing it again.
Yeah, it's movie homework time. If you don't know what the deal is, check out the last podcast. You can either just listen to the beginning part until we explain it, or, give us them sweet, sweet views. If you understand what the gist is already, because you already watched last week's podcast, hit us up in those comments and tell us how smart you are and your favorite flavor of pudding.
No comment. That sounds great.
Okay. We are doing reviews of the movies we saw in 2013. This is when the boy joined me in the movie homework.
Yes.
Let's talk about the movies we saw. Very, very short reviews. So it's like one of those old, 10-second review, 60-second review videos that were popular before YouTube popped off.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was basically watch that little girl's salsa ad. Watch the review, watch a second salsa ad, go about your day.
That salsa ad is iconic.
It is.
Porque no las dos is just a phrase now. It's just a phrase that exists in my life.
All right. You don't come in until a little later here. For whatever reason, we watched a lot of movies apart this year. The first on my list for 2013 is Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. The quote I chose is, "Bring me that horizon."
I don't know. I don't think it's a controversial statement to say that this is the best self-contained Pirates movie.
Pirates are a lot like Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Do you want to elaborate on that, or should we just leave them to
the first one, fantastic. The second one, a lot of people really love it. But it is sort of that bridge. The third one, very divisive because it's a climax.
Yep.
Doesn't stand that well on its own, but like as part of the series.
As a climax of the series, I like the third one a little better. We'll get there in a second.
And the fourth one was all right, and everyone kind of went.
And then there's been like 3 more since then. I guess.
No, just one other, and I still haven't seen that one actually. But that's a story for never probably. It's going to surprise you, listener, but the next movie is Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest. The quote I chose here is, "Pirate."
And not, "Do you fear death?"
There's a million. I really like this franchise.
It's a really good franchise. The first movie genuinely was like a huge surprise at the time.
Yeah.
But like it really made the second half of Johnny Depp's career.
Yeah.
And gave Orlando Bloom something to be besides Legolas.
I think that was very important for him. I feel like I got burnout on Pirates something around 5 years ago. Maybe longer. Time is a fucking construct. We were like all about it and going hard in the paint on it, and there were references everywhere, and I think a similar problem with the Harry Potter series, honestly, above and beyond other reasons that we discussed in the previous video, it was just so everywhere. Like, you couldn't, turn a corner in our personal lives without smacking into some sort of pirate something.
I literally dressed as Hector Barbosa once for Halloween.
Well, I mean, that's all cool, but like, man, looking at these pictures now and looking back and thinking about these movies, I go, man, I really like these movies. But thinking about my, back of the brain opinion of them over the last few years has been more like, I'm all right. I'm good.
You can like a thing and not want to go revisit it.
Yeah, exactly.
It could have been an experience of its time.
Mm-hmm. And of course, the third movie is Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. Yo ho, haul together, hoist the colors high, heave ho, thieves and beggars, never shall we die. That song is cool as fuck.
That song is cool. It's also a song I unironically like. It's actually on the playlist I made of songs for my phone to randomly play when I wake up in the morning to get me pumped. I really like this movie. This movie is is the climax to the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. And then there's some weird after the end fan fiction that happens.
That's not bad.
No, it's not bad. It's just
like,
weird.
Honestly, as a package, the Pirates trilogy might be better than the original Star Wars trilogy.
I don't think that's I think that's only a controversial statement insofar as the original Star Wars trilogy has been lionized and idolized by pop culture for so long.
Right.
That comparing it to any other movie franchise feels like blasphemy to a certain extent. But there are several movie trilogies that I rate as higher than Star Wars. This is one. The Lord of the Rings is another.
I'd have to rewatch Lord of the Rings. And
Come at me, Kevin Smith.
We plan on doing it at some point here in the near future. Yeah, this was just a really solid film trilogy. Really fun. I think really these movies were kind of the precursor to the Marvel films in terms of warming up the audience.
They had the same level of bombast.
Yeah.
And, like, I liked them, but the Marvel franchise, the Marvel movies broke a lot of new ground in terms of interconnectivity between different IP.
Oh, sure, I agree.
But yeah, this definitely was. They were the big blockbusters of their day.
Yeah.
And more fantastical than the Arnold Schwarzenegger action movies, which were the big thing before them.
Sure.
So it was like a stepping stone.
Yeah. I mean, we've had this conversation a lot in the past, and this is why these podcasts go a little longer, because, well, this is what they're about, is the Little Bunny Trails. Yeah, I could list some fucking movies for y'all and go, good or bad, but that's not entertaining. I would not call myself a fan of action movies in general up to a certain point in my life. In fact, I decried them frequently. I've grown a strong appreciation for the tongue-in-cheek sort of, or just over-the-top nonsense that happened in the 80s. But, like, just watching a cool dude shoot thing is rarely enough for me to be invested in a movie.
Whereas that's all I really need.
Sure. Well, that's all a lot of people really need. But, like, this is an example of the difference therein, of when action movies became something for me to go, yeah.
I can get behind this. This is cool.
Yeah, the plots are really interesting, and, I don't know. Well, anyway, the fourth movie here, again, more song lyrics. My heart is pierced by Cupid. I disdain all glittering gold. There is nothing that console me but my jolly sailor bold.
I also really like that song.
Yeah, they did good song stuff.
To be fair, I also just like sea shanties. So
you do. You're a big sea shanty
Pirates
fan.
of the Caribbean Black Flag, best game in the series.
I don't know if you did that on purpose or not, and I don't care.
Oh, I did.
Much like sex jelly, I will live.
No one's gonna get that.
They will in a year or two. Or they should. By the way, speaking of unrelated, my books are for sale in the description of this YouTube video if you want to pop on over there, spend yourself about $10 and grab one of them, or spend yourself about $40 and grab all of them. I would deeply appreciate it, and the first book's a little, but the other three are pretty good. Anyway, that was Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. Now here we begin the crossover. The first movie on your list, kabam! CM Punk, Best in the World.
2012. Oh, what a glorious and innocent year 2013 was.
It's advertised as a 3-disc set here. I believe what we watched was just the documentary portion, not like his matches and shit.
No, we didn't watch the matches.
But your quote?
Was I turned right to Gallows and I was like, we did it! I remember the context of this quote. He was pretending to be evil Jesus, like the straight edge savior gimmick, and he was trying his best to get over as the Antichrist. And at one point, an old lady in the crowd started making the sign of the cross at him, and he took that as his ultimate victory.
Related to CM Punk pitching that idea, a quote from Vince McMahon was, "Michael, is he fucking with me?" Which he was saying to Michael Hayes at the time. Yeah, this was really interesting. It was a lot of interesting behind-the-scenes stuff. Like you said...
What a glorious and innocent year 2013 was.
Yeah.
But, I mean, honestly, looking back on it, if you think about what, like, the stuff that they show in this documentary, even though it's, very positive about Philip and, and paints him in a positive light in a certain way, it does also lay the groundwork for a lot of what happened later.
CM Punk has always kind of reminded me of a friend of mine that I don't talk to anymore. this just story completed its natural course. Now, I think the circumstances surrounding what we're referring to, for those of you who aren't fully aware, is legal issues he had with his quote-unquote friend. Why is his name?
Colt Cabana.
Colt Cabana, thank you. Carlos Colon. No, that's a different guy.
Just a different person.
Yeah, Colt Cabana. There were some legal issues that went between them, and it's kind of murky. But at best, both of them are assholes.
It doesn't bear thinking on too much. It's not really what the podcast is
really
about.
Is not.
I like to think about this from back in the day when, like, I was a huge CM Punk fan, and this was just a really cool experience diving into his career.
There was a long period of my life where he was one of my favorite wrestlers.
Same.
And then he fell back down. So
Yep.
Congratulations, Billy Gunn, and Shawn Michaels to a lesser extent. Anyway, moving on to our next movie. Again, something we both saw. Texas Chainsaw 3D, the 2013 sequel
to the 2003 reboot. I'm fairly certain is what they intend for this to be.
Well, except that there was already that was a prequel. It's so complicated.
A movie in the Texas Chainsaw franchise.
The quote I picked was, "Families are messy. Nothing's thicker than blood."
The quote I picked was, "Clean up this shit."
That was at the end of the movie, wasn't it?
Yeah. Just a really good payoff to a storyline that I actually enjoyed in the movie.
This was fun and punchy and interesting. It was,
Nothing wrong with this movie. This movie was fine.
It was exactly what I expected it to be.
I watched it 7 years ago, and I still kind of remember it. That's probably a good sign.
Sure, I agree. Let's see. Oh, we both used the same picture. Mine's just bigger.
Yeah, this was before I bothered giving a shit about the size and quality of the pictures I selected.
Oh, yeah, now you're all like, I need this bespoke, specific scene.
Yeah, I get very intense about my movie homework now. Maybe that's one of the reasons I watch fewer movies. But back then I just picked any old picture off Google, like the first or second image. But the picture is of Nicolas Cage. The movie is National Treasure from 2004. And the quote is, "Albuquerque." See, I can do it too.
I picked Did Bigfoot Take It, and I barely remember this movie enough to.
Oh, that's because he's a Philistine.
I am. I'm Philip Steen.
You are Philip Steen. That's your new name now, Philip. This is a fucking amazing movie. I love this movie. This movie is everything that's right about Nicolas Cage's career.
I don't like this movie. I don't like this franchise, but like...
I'm so excited they might be making a third one.
Gosh, how do I even put this? Because, like, okay, 10 years ago when I was bitching about this and being, bleeding on the edge or whatever, shut up, old me. You're an asshole. Still, do I like the movie now? Not really. I wouldn't turn this on. I wouldn't have the temerity if it came on cable TV while I was at someone's house to go, can we not? So that's about where it sits. I don't hate it, but I would never turn it on myself.
The founders would be so disappointed.
And they can be.
I'm subscribed to this movie subreddit. This is a great movie.
I'm really happy for you. I genuinely am. Let's see. I think we both watched this here. Yeah. Tactical Force.
Yes.
I remember the quote.
Tactical Force is a movie with Dokes from Dexter and Stone Cold Steve Austin in it. I know that because they're in the pictures. At least I think it was Dokes. You clicked away pretty quick.
I think it's just some guy.
No, that's just some guy.
His name is Hunt.
Yeah, Hunt. His name is Hunt in the movie. But there's a Russian. There's a beautiful, amazing Russian in this movie. I think he's the bad guy, and at one point he's talking to Stone Cold Steve Austin's character while they have like a détente going on. Or maybe one of the other villains. It's been a long time. And he says, "You have taught me many things this day. Perhaps we should, I thank you. Perhaps we should be Facebook friends." And it was murderously funny.
Let's see here.
Oh, Jesus, you got a fucking soliloquy.
It was funny. What, do you think you in Baghdad? Some kind of TV shootout? I got dead thieves. I got wounded hostages. I got a store manager in the hospital with a concussion from a flying steak. The hell is that? I got an armored car guard with a broken pelvis, and I got a national food chain suing the department for $250,000 in property damages caused by LAPD SWAT in less than 10 freaking minutes. What do you have to say for yourselves now? We rescued all the hostages. How would you like a nice cup of shut the hell up, Sergeant Hunt? I'm told you discharged a Red Ryder BB gun in the forehead of one of the robbers. Sergeant Hunt, since when does the Los Angeles Police Department issue Daisy BB guns to its SWAT team? I may have censored that again. I post these on Facebook.
You pretty heavily censored that.
I have, well, I'm not really on Facebook anymore myself, but I have a lot of family on here, and I respect their, predilections.
But it's... God, that character was a beautiful... Was like a last action hero tier, like, exasperated lieutenant, and he was amazing.
I don't remember that movie at all, so... Not this one that I have up now, but the Stone Cold movie.
No, of course you don't. No. It was entirely forgettable. I only remember it because of the Amazing Russian.
Next, we have Justice League Doom, which was a good film.
A very good film.
Yeah,
one of the better adaptations of the Tower of Babel storyline that I've seen. And they've done it a few fucking times.
Yeah. Good Chitara as well. Or Cheetah. I don't know, my brain just...
Chitara. I mean, look, they're not that different.
No, but it's... I guess my brain went, what is this character's name? I can't remember. She's a cheetah. Well, it's probably not that. That's too simple. Go Chitara. That's probably the character you mean. Wait a minute, it's DC Comics. You're lucky it's not Cheetah Woman.
I think it used to be.
Fantastic. I want to say Claudia Black is playing her here.
I don't fucking remember, dude.
Just very well done. I really enjoyed her. And that's why I picked my screenshot of her, because I was really enamored with the performance. The quote I chose was that sarcasm, Alfred. Mild teasing at best. I'm being uncharacteristically gentle with you, mainly because you're bleeding all over my nice clean floor.
Alfred Pennyworth is a champion of life. The quote I chose, same movie. The quote I chose was, "None of us would ever do that to you. Then you're damned fools."
That's really good shit. If you guys have never gone through, and even if you have, I'd recommend this movie.
It's a really good movie, and if you, specifically if one of our listeners has gone through the Tower of Babel storyline in comics, I like this version better. It cleans up a lot of the cruft that comics, being the medium that they are, tend to accumulate.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with that.
God. This is going to be I think this might be the first... This might be the first genuinely negative review that happens on this little experience we're having, so strap in.
Someone we used to live with was gifted a couple of movies for a holiday. I don't remember which one. But they were those obvious, like...
Z grade.
I paid $1 for this. 10-movie collection.
One of those being the Zombie Diaries from 2006. You know, like all the stereotypes of a shitty zombie movie?
I don't think... This is the fucking thing, okay? I am going to posit that your average citizen has no idea what a bad movie is.
Okay, you're going to have to back that up a little.
This movie, I have no idea how long it was. It may still be going on. I don't remember it ending or beginning.
It just happened. You know what? I mean, it was a long time ago, but neither do I. The movie just was happening, and then it wasn't happening.
If I remember correctly, it had an intro, sort of, and then at some point it stopped.
That is demonstrably true, because we're not still watching it.
Well, yeah, but like in terms of even like plot and what it didn't end, it just quit.
I chose the one line in the whole movie that made me laugh, which was, "So I just stand in it," wherein they're afraid of getting the zombie infection, I guess, and...
I mean, I can set up your line.
Oh, good. Yes, please do.
"Well, I don't fancy the idea of getting their blood on us, especially not our feet. We could track the infection into the house."
So I just stand in it.
Well, they had a bucket they were trying to clean them off on. And
yeah, they were just... No, it wasn't even a bucket. It was a tarp covered in soap.
Oh, sure. Fucking... But okay, so that scene was the most interesting part of this
because
movie.
it was so unreasonably domestically realistic.
Yeah, and that was nice. It had a lot of character, but the rest of this movie was boring. Shots of nothing, fighting encounters with zombies that weren't even really like. It wasn't interesting, man. Like I've seen Z-grade 70s movies that are leaps and bounds better than this. I've seen Asylum movies that are way better than this. This is boring shit. It's not even it's not even The Room. Okay? The Room is at least like, at your worst scenario, you can laugh at it and go, what the fuck? This was just nothing.
Yeah, honestly, if it had been worse, if they had leaned more into So I Just Stand in It, and had it been a story about just very normal people having normal domestic issues in the middle of a zombie apocalypse, that would have been way fucking more interesting.
Bland Shaun of the Dead.
Bland Shaun of the Dead would have been a much better movie.
Yeah, it would have been. This was garbage. That's why I submit. I don't think most people know what bad movies are. Most people are like, oh, you want to know a bad movie? And they'll tell you something that's like...
bombastically over the top terrible.
Or something that just was panned or has some weird shit in it or, didn't make enough money... shit like that. And it's like, no.
I don't know that I agree with that theorem just because I think the pool is too wide. I don't think the average citizen has any one opinion about movies.
That's fair. I suppose the bulk of people I run into that that don't scrape the bottom of the barrel as a hobby.
Yeah.
You just, it's the iceberg
a lot of
thing.
those people haven't seen this movie.
Well, this movie, for example.
Or movies like it.
Right. You get people making these top 100, Oscar winner movie lists, and they're like, oh, The Godfather was a shit movie. I don't think so, buddy. Stuff happened.
I'm not a huge fan of The Godfather, but I really, respectfully, if you can say unironically The Godfather was a bad movie, please tell me that, because I don't need your opinion on any other movies. You have bad opinions on movies.
You have no concept of floor. You're standing at the top of the iceberg and going, man, I feel cold and wet.
Can't possibly be related to my location.
Well, more so, and no one could be colder or wetter. Let's scooch along into some goofs. American Reunion. So this is kind of an interesting thing to go back to. When I was in high school, I watched the American Pie movies. I borrowed them from a friend of mine.
I watched them when I was much younger than high school because I'm younger than him, and my parents didn't really monitor my movie intake as a child.
I was kind of sheltered until about... As much as I was a horror buff for a long time, I didn't see a horror movie until I was like 14, 15. And much like Beetlejuice before me, the second horror movie I ever saw was The Shining, and it was hilarious. It was really interesting to come back to that time in my life with this sequel, which came out, the year prior. I don't really remember much of it. I remember it being not quite as funny, but also not quite as over the top raunchy.
I remember it being better than American Pie 2.
That's not hard.
I said I remember it, not that it was a surprise. But it was a fine movie. It felt... it didn't feel more mature. That's the wrong way of phrasing it.
No, just less raunchy.
Less raunchy,
yeah.
Yes. But it was still an American Pie movie, as evidenced by your quote.
My quote is, I got your Jew scarf. Where...
I'm pretty sure Stifler.
Yeah, I couldn't remember his name.
Sean William Scott is an amazing actor.
He's delightful. His character as a teenager during...
a bar mitzvah.
Yeah, a bar mitzvah. Stole the main guy's Jew scarf. I don't know the technical term.
The joke is funny because that's not the technical term.
Right, but I don't know the technical term.
Oh, I got the fucking comedy assassin, Eugene Levy. I'm not here. You didn't see me.
Oh, how about it? Okay, we move into the review must go on. You remember the last episode? There was a website we used to go to with videos we used to watch, and this was a movie they did.
Unlike To Boldly Flee, or whatever it was on the last list, I don't remember this at all.
It was a lot bleaker. I think this was the one where he died. No, this is the one where they bring him back. I don't care. Yeah, I don't really remember this film that much either.
I remember the hilarious bit, the line that I picked at the end, which I also think summarized my feelings about the movie. Which was, who the fuck is the nostalgia critic? When are you going to bring back Melvin?
I went with his quote, "Hello, I'm the nostalgia critic, and I remember it, so you don't have to." Like, this is the part where I'd want to go into, like, the history leading up to this situation and why it was important at the time. But, like...
It's not anymore, and it depresses us to talk about, so...
I just... Fuck those people. Not all of them, like, but, you know, Doug. You did not watch Hotel Transylvania with me.
I did not.
It was alright. It was okay. Anyway, the quote I chose was, "I have pig strangling blood in my arm." Actually, that's kind of cool. I don't remember the context. It was okay. It was an okay film. Oh, okay. We're still catching up. I watched more movies than you did. Paranormal Activity 4.
I don't think I watched this at all.
I thought you did, but maybe you left in the middle of it. I could have sworn you were around for this. So I really like the picture I chose here, which if y'all have seen Paranormal Activity 4, you'll know what I'm talking about, for those who haven't.
No, I think 3 was so bad I didn't watch 4.
4 was okay. It was fine. It wasn't anything near 1 and 2, but it wasn't the garbage fire that 3 was.
Apparently at some point someone made an amazing joke.
Well, yeah. But I like the screenshot because this was not long after, like, the Kinect was a thing and a lot of motion capture video gaming sort of technology. So one of the things they used in the night vision ghost hunting thing
was the Kinect.
So you've got this room that's a field of, like, light dots trying to sense, you know, what's in there. And obviously you can do some really cool stuff with that filmmaking wise, like, oh shit, the light dots are moving, that's the ghost.
Yeah.
You know, I just really liked that and I thought it was neat. The quote I chose was, "Bum bum bum." I don't remember the context. We arrive now at the 5-year engagement.
I don't remember this movie at all.
I do.
I remember the joke that I picked. I'm pretty sure that was Sarah Silverman.
Maybe.
Or someone equivalent. I don't remember this movie. Please explain this movie to me.
I don't remember most of the details, but I do remember watching it. I remember a lot of the jokes from it. I remember the performances. I remember having an overall good time. I don't really remember the plot. Character from How I Met Your Mother. Marshall Mathers.
And
Brian Posehn. And someone in the background who's probably super important and not just an extra. They're in the movie. I feel like
pretty sure they work in a sandwich shop
or cheese store, deli maybe. No, he like gets together with this lady and they're like together for a long time or something goes on. I really 5 years. Yeah, I don't remember the plot of this very well at all. You know what? Fuck it. We're basically just doing Let's Google with White Raven here.
Let's Google it.
Wikipedia says, oh god, that's too much. Here we go.
It's a Judd Apatow movie.
Oh, okay. They keep putting off getting married. I think, like, at the end, they decide not to.
Oh, okay. Sure, that's a movie. I'm sure it was funny. Judd Apatow makes funny movies.
Yeah, and Marshall Man is very funny.
And so is Brian Posehn.
Oh, fantastic. Good
He's
comedy.
made of farts, but, no one's perfect.
I think that's an enhancement to his character.
Same, really.
Yeah. Your quote?
I'm not going to do the voice, but it was, for the record, done in the Cookie Monster voice. C is for condom. That's good enough for me.
I have, you were sending telepathic wiener missiles at her face and you know it. Someone was saying that he was attracted to a lady.
Which is one hell of a way to say that.
Yeah, that's good shit. I'm glad we all talk really stupid now.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. You did not watch that film.
Hell no.
This was the person who used to live with us. The movie was called Secret of the Wings. It was a Tinkerbell movie. But like you would expect it would be like Tinkerbell, Secret of the Wings. No, just Secret of the Wings. For a children's
of the very deep and expansive Tinkerbell universe.
Yes.
Oh God, you're not joking.
Nope.
You know what? I'm gonna back away from this void. I'm not gonna look at it. I don't want it to stare back. Let's talk about Secret of the Wings.
It was okay. It was cute. Like it's one of those, you know how direct to DVD or direct to video movies are for kids. They're like not as good as the regular ones.
But they'll keep a child quiet for
Usually
a
they're
time.
like garbage trash. This one was all right. It was okay. And it might have even gotten a theatrical release. I don't know. Who wouldn't last a day in that cold? Besides, I'm afraid of glaciers. Glaciers? They're known for their stealth. He's never actually seen one. You never do.
Oh, okay.
It's funny.
That's actually a funny joke.
It's funny. All right. Yeah.
Oh, which one of us gets to do the quote? We picked the same quote for this on account of it being fucking astounding.
This movie is The Last Exorcism, a movie I strongly recommend, despite its what the fuck ending. Please, do the honors.
Do you know if you take 2 ripe bananas and you put them in a bowl and then you put some sugar and you go ahead and you bake it for 400 and you go ahead and pull it out and you got yourself banana bread? Hallelujah!
So the premise at the beginning of the film is this priest is losing faith. And he's talking about what a charade putting on any sort of service is. He's like, you can go up there and say anything. You can give them a recipe for fucking banana bread and they'll cry hallelujah to it.
And then, to prove his point, in his next sermon, it's done as like a documentary.
Yeah.
In his next sermon, he does go up and literally recite a recipe for fucking banana bread, and the crowd goes wild.
It was a pretty funny situation. But I liked this movie a lot. I thought it was really clever. I thought it was really interesting. It was a good era for suspenseful horror movies. And I find the older I get, I shy less, toward the gore fests. I used to love stuff like Saw, but now it's a little more. I like some suspense. I want to feel wigged out.
Yeah, I want to feel the tension coming off the screen. If I'm gonna go to all the trouble to watch a horror movie, I want to be tense. That's why I'm here.
At the beginning of this year, I watched As Above, So Below, and that was a tense ass movie. If I had been watching that in the theater, who doggies? Or directly in front of the TV, at
as
night
opposed
with
to
the lights on, instead of across the room from it. But and that's why Paranormal Activity and its sequel were really good, because they were heavy in the suspense. There was like almost no gore in those movies.
No.
There we have it. Let's. Oh man, memories. I watched a documentary called Ancient Aliens Debunked, which is exactly what it says on the tin.
It is them debunking the show Ancient Aliens.
And it's fascinating.
Because apparently that's necessary.
Oh, it is. A lot of people really...
I'm not saying it's not. I'm expressing bafflement that it is.
Honestly, I'm looking at my Facebook comments, and Skell, I don't know if you watch the show, but I know you are a friend of mine, comments, a movie was really necessary to debunk this show.
Yes, as it turns out.
The entire film's on YouTube. If you guys want to watch it, I recommend it. Because not only does it tell you why Ancient Aliens is bullshit, but it also tells you the weird shit that is like, oh wow, what a weird series of circumstances.
That led to the show Ancient Aliens?
No, just like, well, I mean, technically yes, but like some of the stuff they mention, it's like, yeah, that did happen, and that is weird. Strange.
Wasn't aliens, but it is strange.
Yeah, but I would fully recommend it. It's a good use of your time. The quote I chose was, do not become enslaved to an authority figure. They should always be willing to direct you to information so that you can do the work and you can check on them. If they don't, you should be suspicious.
And that is prescient advice for fucking 2012.
And here we are. We've showed up at... Man, the story around watching this film, the hardest film we've ever put effort into going to see.
I don't remember this. Please enlighten the story, because I don't remember the details.
So, we drive to go to the movie.
Yeah.
It's a little dark, around 7, maybe 8 o'clock. It's in March, on the way there,
I think I remember this now.
my car's brakes go out.
So instead of, getting into the breakdown lane and slowing to a stop and calling someone, no, we make it to the theater and decide to go see the movie.
Well, and that was kind of the thing. So we got to the theater and we were pretty close anyway. It was like there's X number of places we could pull over. The theater
might as
is
well
one
be
of them.
the theater.
Yeah.
It's the same distance as everything else.
Right. So, because it wasn't like a highway. It was the main thoroughfare in a commerce area.
Yeah.
So it's not. There's nowhere to pull over.
But we're already there, so we figured, well, we're already here. Might as well see the movie.
Yeah, the car place is closed. There's nothing we can do. So we're like, well, we're kvetching about it a little bit and getting all worried, but and then we're like, yeah, let's watch the film. The film is Bullet to the Head.
It is Sylvester Stallone doing an excellent job as like a cynical asshole. Like, how was he a cop?
Either he was a cop or he
like
used
an
to be a
ex-cop
cop,
or
yeah.
something. And he has like a younger partner. It's just a buddy cop movie. It's fairly replaceable, but it's very funny because there's a lot of really good sardonic humor.
Yeah, it's really dry and really like this as an action movie had just enough character to take me over to the I am interested in this line.
We both picked Sylvester Stallone's sardonic jokes, which were both payoffs to stuff like earlier in the movie. Mine was, and I know, I heard the speech. We should have taken him in. Which he said like right after they both shot the big bad.
Mine was after his partner gives him this big long rant of this is what we need to be doing.
This is why we need to do the right thing. This is why we gotta try.
And he's sitting there, and
it starts with "fuck you, man."
Yeah. Which Stallone responds to with, "You had me at fuck you."
Jason Momoa also really good in this movie as the villain.
It was the dragon. The villain.
Yeah, he was the dragon. He was the dragon. He
big
was
hat
the villain
crime
who
boss. Yeah. Good film. If you like action movies, this
is one of them,
Yeah,
and a particularly fine one.
All right, we're still on track together. Red State. This is a year for watching weird religious horror movies.
Red State is probably the best movie Kevin Smith ever made.
I'd agree with that. I haven't seen.
It's certainly not my favorite Kevin Smith movie.
The Walrus one or Nazi Sausage, but this is probably better.
We don't speak of the Nazi bratwurst in this house. It's not my favorite Kevin Smith movie, but it's probably his best film. It is great. And can you Google the name of the actor who does the main villain? Because
sure.
He's a genuinely chilling performance that I want to shout out.
I believe it was largely... no, not the political blog. The Kevin Smith film.
Michael Parks.
Yes.
Yeah. It is a movie about... It is a movie that definitely isn't about the Westboro Baptist Church.
No, that would imply the Westboro Baptist Church has balls.
Exactly. And it is... Michael Parks puts forth a genuinely chilling performance as the pastor of this cultish, murderous church. John Goodman puts forth a really good dramatic performance. The ending is a very surprising twist, which if you listen to Kevin Smith talk was going to be way more surprising before he ran out of budget. But, which honestly I think is good for the movie because the twist that exists is a better ending.
I agree. And it would have deprived John Goodman of that amazing speech, which I believe is quoted in my quote here. People do strange things when they believe they're entitled. People do even stranger things when they plain believe.
Mine is, I fear God. You better believe I fear God. And it is, honestly, if you haven't seen it, it is a really fucking good movie.
Yeah.
It is the movie that proves that even though he is ultimately a weird stoner, Kevin Smith is also, if he decides to put on his big boy pants for the day, an amazing filmmaker.
Starts out a little weird, but, he gets the Kevin Smith out of his system and then makes a film.
Yeah.
Let's see. What do we flow into next? Are we still on pace? We're still on... No. No, I went and watched The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey.
I'm surprised I didn't see that with you.
Yeah, it was a weird time, my friend. You guys were working second shift, and I was working like...
Yeah, I kept missing things.
Mm-hmm. The quote I picked was Sebastian, because much to friends of mine's chagrin, I really liked Radagast in that film.
I like these movies. They are very terrible adaptations of The Hobbit, but if you take them as movies in their own right, they're fine.
I will get to it.
Okay.
I like this movie.
Oh.
And they shouldn't have split it into 3, is basically...
No, 2 is the maximum you could have gotten, and it should have been 1.
The shit they added was just... It was the problem.
Tariel is great. And I won't stand for people. I won't let stand for people shit talking unnecessary new elf lady in this.
Well, and I
deeply unnecessary character.
Deeply unnecessary ass Radagast. I liked him too, but like all of the stuff they added is the stuff someone has a problem with.
Well, yeah, because they're book fans, and when you add things to a book, all book fans always get mad.
Not even that. It's just that a lot of it was just shit that they made up, or over embellished,
or some of it was from the Silmarillion,
which was not as good. All right,
that was fighting words.
Now we're caught
circles.
up. I don't care about your cinnamon rolly, Lynn. So let's move on to Jurassic Park. We watched this in the theaters when it was re-released for the 10-year anniversary or 20-year or whatever.
But it was still really fun.
Well, we were off in the corner because fucking everybody was in there.
Because it's Jurassic Park!
Yeah, on the big screen. And good God, did those effects hold up.
They hold up better than they have any fucking right to. Like, they hold up so damn well. And not just the animatronics. People go on and on about how, they went to all this trouble to make a big real T-Rex and that looked... But no, the CG. Because there is CG in that movie. Holds up.
The CG in this movie, made in 1993, holds up better than almost everything in the prequel trilogy.
I don't disagree with that statement at all. That is a perfectly fair statement. This movie's effects hold up astoundingly well. Its story is nice and quick and not bogged down in stupid bullshit, Mr. Crichton.
Stupid bullshit, Mr. Crichton could have been his full name, honestly.
But it is a very fun, very good movie. And seeing it in the theater was... Sometimes it's important to see shit on the big boy screen.
Yeah, sometimes it is. And that's a movie that it's like that.
It makes a difference. The T-Rex what's not even the screen, the sound system in the theater makes the T-Rex feel real.
Would you like to share your quote from the man chilling relaxedly on my desk and also standing in tiny form just here on my desk?
Jeff Goldblum pops. Jeff Goldblum isn't here. We would be interviewing him if he were.
No, I don't know that he would allow us. I think he would just stand back.
No, just continue.
No, do your show by all means. No, I'd love to observe. Thank you.
God, that would be the most awkward thing, but I'd do it. Yeah, but John, if the Pirates of the Caribbean breaks down, the pirates don't eat the tourists.
I'm fairly alarmed here.
Must go faster. Must go faster. Must go faster.
I guess we got on a Kevin Smith kick because the next film is...
It was probably Red State.
Clerks.
Clerks, 1994, filmed in black and white. I know so much goddamn trivia about this movie, so we're just going to go ahead with the quotes. You go first.
Mine is the eternal, my love for you is like a truck, berserker.
Sorry, this is on Facebook, so sometimes someone will fucking swoop into the comments with a very funny ad. Mine for Clerks is some guy just came in refusing to pay late fees. Said the video store was closed for 2 hours yesterday. So I tore up his membership. Shocking abuse of authority. Hey, I'm a firm believer in the philosophy of the ruling class, especially since I rule. What could you fucking say about this movie at this point? This movie is, for a certain class of person, this movie is pop culture Mount Rushmore. It is a foundational part of a big section of my generation's personality.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. It's a big one. I didn't see it until I was in my teens.
God, I fucking forgot that I took a picture with my cell phone for this movie because we paused at the best moment. Oh, tell them about the movie. I need a second.
Again, we were living with someone else at the time, and sometimes they just wanted to watch a movie, and this one looked bad, but that person did not listen to us. It's called The Awakening. It's a 2011 movie. I'm going to have to tell you that because, you know what? For as much as I give Total Biscuit, may he forever exist in at least 90 FPS.
Rip John Bain. I hope the field of view sliders in heaven are glorious.
As much as we give him shit like we just did just now, one of the things he used to bitch about that I feel in my soul is when you release a video game, and it goes for movies too, give it a title that you can Google. There's like a special term for it.
There are like 9 The Awakenings, is the point he's getting.
Yeah, like, come on, man. Awakening the Beginning, even. It gives us something to go on other than going, all right, which fucking film is this? I don't know. There was a ghost in a house. Some lady was there. It was really boring.
It's a perfectly banal haunted house movie.
It was a boring haunted house movie.
No,
it was nowhere near as bad as fucking Zombies on the Lawn, but
it was fun.
It existed. It wasn't as good as The Woman in Black.
No.
But it wasn't a sin.
No. My quote is, Lady bird, fly away home. Your house is on fire and your children are gone, all except one. Which is an arc poem that the ghost uses in the movie. It's a pretty cool poem, and it works well in the context of a horror movie. I chose a picture with the main character looking with the most dumbfounded look on her face because it was fucking hilarious.
Mine was Nicolas Cage like, look in the house, look in the house, look in the house, look in the house. How to get burned, how to get burned!
Which, to be fair, a very reasonable reaction. Because if memory serves, like, if anyone had looked in the house, there was just a ghost lady fucking chilling in the window, like, for a long time. There is one scene I want to call out about The Awakening because it still strikes me as funny. It was an R-rated film. And
I'm glad one of us had to bring this up.
You could tell that the director or the cinematographer or maybe the editor, somebody really resented having to put tits in the movie to get their R rating. Because there was only one scene of nudity in the movie, and it was fucking hilarious at the time because the camera stops as the main character lady is getting out of the bath, zooms in, like rack focuses onto her tits, and then zooms up to her face, and then they just move on with the movie. There is no reason for it. It's not tasteful. It is clearly, look, boobs, there, moving the fuck on.
I feel like either the writer or the director or both had that opinion, and then like the cinematographer or maybe the people funding the movie were like, nah, I want to see your boobs. I don't know why Southern Vince McMahon is who that person is, but here we are.
It is in my head now. Moving right along to a better movie.
A much better movie, a classic from my childhood, Harry and the Hendersons. The quote from which I picked is, okay.
I picked a different quote solely because I knew everyone else who saw this movie, because it was a few of us in the house who were all doing this thing at the same time, would pick that because that's the quote you would pick, because that's the best line in the movie.
There's a billion really good lines.
There's a billion really good lines. I picked a different line just because, like, I love okay, but I just wanted to do something different because I was sure that line was going to get plenty of play elsewhere, which was, have you ever seen a baby pigeon? Well, neither have I, but I got a hunch they exist.
It's good stuff. We live in a world where, listener, you might not have seen this movie. It's a classic. John Lithgow, we're looking at 1987, so it's from the 80s, which means it's superior to most film.
It's older than me.
Not older than me, I'm ancient. I read, actually, the novelization of this several times. I think it's a really good story with a lot of really good, like, morals, and you kind of got to look for them a little bit. They're not front and center.
It's a good 80s family picture.
Yeah, it really is.
It's a family picture, and I mean that unironically. It's just heartwarming.
Yeah. So it's while it being from the 80s, being a little like, rough around the edges in a fun way.
Some shit. No, I don't even think there's much that hasn't aged well.
No, it was just always kind of rough around the edges,
yeah.
Like the Goonies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh God, I fucking love this quote.
Yeah, that's a you watched.
I watched this by myself. This is the beginning of a love story. My love story with one Jason Statham. If there is a patron saint of cool man shoot gun at thing, the action movie, it is Jason Statham. I have watched almost every movie he's ever made. I think I've missed In the Name of the King, A Dungeon Siege Tale, and like one other. This is not the first Jason Statham movie I've ever watched, obviously, but it's the first one I watched that I made a movie homework for. It is 2011's Killer Elite. The line is, "Who are you? I'm the one they let flying around an unmarked chopper with a gun in my pocket. You can call me Mifwick." Mifwick? Motherfucker, what's in charge? I use that. I've used that in D&D. I've used that on the internet. That is a fucking stone cold line.
It's been 7 years. And it never gets old. The look of delight on your face as I can see you're about to whip it out. Any thoughts on the movie?
It is one in a long line of Jason Statham is an FBI operative, or rather an MI6 operative, a cop, or a criminal in metropolitan London. He has to do some shit. One of the many, many versions of that.
Yes, we have caught up together again here. Iron Man 3. I got nothing. That was the quote.
Yeah, this is Kiss Kiss Clang Clang is a great movie. The Mandarin twist is cool. I'm fully unapologetic about that.
This was an incredible movie. It shot up into my top 10 pretty fast. I don't know that it's still there on reevaluation, but I really had a good time watching this one.
Shane Black is a great director.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mine is Dad Left for Scratchers. I guess he won because that was 6 years ago. Which happens. Dads leave. There's no need to be a pussy about it.
Oh, cinematic universe Tony Stark. You
are better than all other versions of Tony Stark.
I don't know if we're going to catch up to that. No. So here you are. You watched this without me.
I did. The Dark Knight Rises from 2012. I chose Deshi Deshi Basra. What does that mean? Rise. This is a flawed movie. This movie could have been much, much better.
It's a flawed movie in part because every time I see a trash can that's marked in Spanish when I'm out in public, I think of Basra, Basra, Deshi, Basra, Basra.
But it is a flawed film. I like this movie. This movie was a fun sort of, but it was not the ending that a movie like The Dark Knight deserved. And Tom Hardy's physical portrayal of Bane is just really well done. Physically, he does the character very well. Christopher Nolan has this flaw as a director, and it's viewable in the entire Batman trilogy he made, as well as most of his other movies. He lets his actors make choices, and then he doesn't rein them in. Because for both Batman and Bane, the actor decided to make the choice to do an objectively very fucking silly voice. And he did not stop them.
I remember when we
That's
first...
your job as a director.
Yeah, I remember when we first saw the first one. Maybe it was after the Dark Knight.
No, it was after the first one.
But we talked about how his weird voice was, and we were like, well, maybe it's because he's a new Batman.
Maybe he's new. He's like,
it out.
He's getting into the groove. No, he just decided to do that. And the voice got sillier every movie. Despite all of pop culture dunking on it constantly, they just made it even sillier in the third movie.
It was the, so that's what that feels like, line. That was the apex.
He's alone on that rooftop.
He's alone. That's the joke. And yet he's still doing the stupid bat voice like a post-orgasmic, I don't know, cane?
Rock biter.
Rock biter, yeah. They look like big strong hands.
Bane's Deckard Bane is a bad call. That was a bad choice. I love Tom Hardy as an actor. That was a bad fucking call. Physically, he did an amazing performance as Bane. If I could do this movie, if I had $1 bajillion and was told to fix this movie with as few edits as possible, I would just have someone dub over Batman and Bane, and it would be almost a letter grade better.
I think maybe we would not bother with the subplot wrap up at the end of Robin. That was a long way to go for nothing.
I feel like The Dark Knight Rises could be summarized as a long way to go for nothing.
I watched The Prince and Me, a 2004 film. I don't remember the name of that actress, but she's good.
Is that the one from 10 Things I Hate About You?
Maybe. I think so. She was big in aughts movies at the time.
Save the Last Dance also, I think.
I think so. I just can't remember now.
Me neither. Never mind. Move on.
The quote is, "Where's Eddie? Oh, you mean Prince who ate my Triscuits and didn't replace them?" I don't really remember much about...
I assume Eddie was a prince.
I hope so. Now we definitely saw that together, so let me play catch up here. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, why do I get the girl gun? I chose. Just because it was delivered really funny. Brad Pitt's funny. I don't like this movie. I've never liked this movie.
I don't know why he doesn't like this movie. This movie's fine. This movie's fun.
This
movie isn't trying to be anything more than what it is, and judging it more harshly than what it is unfair.
No, I don't care for this movie. I don't care for their sexual tension. I don't care for these actors as a couple. Brad Pitt doesn't get to be full Brad Pitt here. He only gets to be half Brad Pitt.
He is a little understated.
He came, he saw, he got his paycheck. Just spell my name right. Mm-hmm. And I don't care about the through line of this plot. So
I think this is a concept that could have been done better, but I enjoyed it.
Sure. Okay, this is the thing, though. This is one of those, the movie list. Not what we're doing right now, but like when someone's like, "Oh man, you haven't seen X? You gotta watch X." This was exactly that kind of movie for me. And it's not that it was overhyped and there was this backlash. They were just like, "Oh, you haven't seen this film? Well, you gotta watch it." So I watched it. This is not a movie I would have picked up on my own. You know why? Because I can see the trailer for that movie and go, I don't care for that. And you know what? I sat through the fucking 90 minutes of movie and went, I didn't care for that.
Notably, I don't think I would have recommended it to you.
No. You know why? Because I didn't care for it. No, we definitely watched that together. Cropsy was a documentary about a serial killer / supernatural horror story. The quote from which I chose was, "I can take a picture of anybody and say, this man is a mass murderer." And they'll say, "Oh, I can tell, I can tell." Or I can take the same picture and say, "This man rescued 6 people from a burning building. Oh, I can tell, he's a good man."
True!
Yeah. Hence why I chose the quote.
Scientifically true.
It was kind of a boring documentary. I wouldn't recommend it. This is me finally watching The Dark Knight Rises. It took apart... We watched them separately.
We did watch this separately.
I actually had a running commentary on Facebook at the time of trying to figure out what the fuck Bane was saying. And every now and then, it would give me, like, your Facebook memories from this day. And it would be, like, gibberish. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh, that was Bane.
Yeah.
I never had problems understanding him, but it was a silly voice.
Well, and you, I believe, watched it in theaters.
No.
No, didn't you? Okay. Maybe you watched it on a better TV.
Probably.
The quote I chose was, "Maybe it's time we all stop trying to outsmart the truth and let it have its day." We just discussed this just enough. I got a lot of catching up to do here. Short film called Love's Routine, featuring Willem Dafoe. Good night, Margie.
As always, we don't really talk about short films because they are 100% spoiler.
I'd watch it. This one was good. Here, we finally caught up together. Why don't you take the lead on this one, my friend?
God, both our pictures for this is tiny because there were no good screenshots of it because we saw it like opening weekend in the theater. This is Pacific Rim from 2013. Numbers do not lie. Politics, poetry, art, those are lies. Numbers are the closest we can come to the handwriting of God.
Is his name Herman Gottlieb?
I believe so. White, with his own quote from the movie in my comment section.
Oh, did I?
What?
No Pulse was what I picked. I don't even remember the context of that.
Ron Perlman says it right before he gets et.
Ron Perlman was both of our pictures because he was a delightful surprise in this film. This is a great film.
I know, I've never seen the sequel.
Yeah, I was about to comment on that. We never went to see the second movie.
It just didn't strike me for some reason.
Yeah,
like, it was,
same.
Meh. I'm not sure. I think it was maybe that Mako wasn't there. Or...
Well, and there was so much time in between the two movies that it just kind of lost a lot of the oomph. I've heard it's really good.
Maybe it was that, like, yeah, I just didn't jive.
I like that I pull up that and the first word you say is jive. I got another short film here. The Smile Man, another Willem Dafoe short film from 2013. You want to know how I smile? That's how. And that's how I'm not smiling. See? Now I smile, now I don't. Now I smile, now I don't. Got it? He can't stop smiling.
Oh.
And he starts to go a little cuckoo crackers about it. This was when I made you watch Purple Rain.
Yep. I had no desire to watch Purple Rain.
No, you didn't. Now, and after that, what do you think about
Purple Rain's a great movie.
Purple Rain's a fantastic movie. Purple Rain is an exercise in good filmmaking. I have a lot of thoughts about Purple Rain, but we're already like an hour, so I'm not going to get too deep into it. But if you have any interest in film...
We're only at, like, July.
I know, right? And we can cut this shit off if we're at an hour, because July, this is a pretty big movie year, and we're working off of 2 lists here.
I wouldn't mind continuing, but I think cutting it into 2 podcasts wouldn't be bad.
Wow. Then we can have another one in our pocket if I don't feel like it next week, or just to shoot in whenever. I like that idea. Well, let's finish our thoughts on Purple Rain, and then we'll pick back up.
My quote is, I think I'm going to need a drink. I know specifically that my favorite quote from this movie is actually the quote right before that line, but I don't censor my quotes on Facebook. I just try and pick family-friendly quotes. And I know the thing he says right before that is not family-friendly.
Yeah, I've got a lot of films. I wanted to check and make sure we weren't going to come back to like a 20-minute podcast and have to stall for time.
We just rolled right through to 2014. But I know us.
Yeah, I would. If you're interested in film at all, I would watch Purple Rain. I'd give that a little look.
If you're not, if the idea of watching Prince's vanity piece of a movie doesn't strike you, and you don't think it's good, you've never felt the need to watch Purple Rain, and it seems a little over the top, no, watch it. I felt the same way. It's actually a really good movie.
Yeah, it's good shit.
Everything's better when nerds talk about it.